So right off the bat, I want to say that this video is partially satire, even though it is a fully viable build that you can try for yourself. I've been using it in lower keys and it's been pretty fun. I'm not the first to play this build. There have been many others, mainly Just Russ, who made a video on it a couple weeks ago, and our boy Humanity, who has been using it for forever. The only difference is the talent choice in the third row, and that's where the joke lies. So I want to give them credit where credit is due. I will link to Russ's video in the description. You can go check it out, sub to his channel, and I'll also put a link to Humanity's Raider.io page. You can go check him out as well. So with that being said, let's take a look at how this build works. Wait, before I give you this sweet bit of free knowledge, do you know what else is free? A free trial at audible.com, which has the largest selection of titles out there. Listen, I've never been one for books. I buy them because the cover looks cool, and then they just sit collecting dust for years. Audiobooks, on the other hand, keep my attention, and the best thing of all is you can listen to them while you do other stuff, like washing the dishes, or walking the dog, or even while you're raiding. Just don't let your raid leader know. You can get the Illidan novel for free, which will teach you all about our Lord Creator Thirsttrap's backstory and his escapades in Outland. There's also numerous other Warcraft titles like Dawn of the Aspects, which can prepare you for the Dragonflight expansion, Before the Storm, detailing the events leading up to Battle for Azeroth, and Sylvanas, which is narrated by freaking Sylvanas. As an Audible member, you get to choose one title a month from their entire collection, whether it's a bestseller or a brand new release. Members also get full access to a growing selection of included audiobooks, Audible originals, and podcasts that you can download or stream wherever you want. So sign up for a free 30-day trial at audibletrial.com/Jedith, and you'll get one title for, you guessed it, free. That's audibletrial.com/Jedith for a free 30-day trial, which comes with one free title of your choice. Link will be in the description. Thanks to Audible for sponsoring this video. Alright, so the premise of the build is this. You're taking damage out of your Sinful Brand output and redistributing it into other abilities like Blade Dance, Death Sweep, and Fell Rush. That's where the Unbound part comes in. So you might be asking yourself, why the heck is it a casino? Well, because you're using Dark Glare as your second legendary, so you're essentially playing a slot machine every pull. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't, but generally you'll get enough procs for it to be worth it. The Dark Glare procs are beneficial for 3 reasons. The extra I-beams will extend your Sinful Brands, which partially compensates for the lack of collective anguish. They will keep you in demonic longer, which means more death sweeps. And finally, every time you get a proc, it's a massive dopamine rush, so instead of playing Diablo Immortal, you can get your fix here. One of the benefits of playing this build over another build that uses Cycle of Hatred is the fact that you're not completely punished by downtime if you need to move away from the boss. Sure, your brand might fall off, but that's probably going to happen anyways with this build, because your damage is spread out between your other abilities. You won't notice your damage dip as much as you would with Cycle of Hatred. So let's take a look at some specifics, starting with the talents. In the first row, we'll be sticking with Blind Fury. This makes our I-beams longer, which means we're getting that little extra bit of extensions on our brands, and we'll be getting extra I-beam procs with our Dark Glare, so it just makes sense. The second row is going to be staying the same as well. You'll take Insatiable Hunger because you're still pressing Demon's Bite here, and if you're prone to accidentally pressing Demon's Bite too much instead of spending Fury, then that's even more reason to take this talent. But that's a nasty habit though, and you should try to fix that. The third row is kind of where the controversy is here. Honestly, you can play any 3 of these, and they all have different benefits, different damage profiles. Russ uses Glaive Tempest, and Humanity uses Trail of Ruin, but listen, you're here learning about the Jedith's Unbound Casino build. So, you guessed it, we're taking Unbound Chaos. This is especially good if your tank pulls big, or if you're in a particularly dense area of mobs like the Ardenweald area in The Other Side, because Fell Rush is in fact uncapped. It also costs 0 Fury whatsoever to use, but like I said, choose whatever talent you feel most comfortable with here. The next row that matters is the one where you'll pick First Blood. Choosing this instead of Cycle of Hatred brings Blade Dance back into the mix, and we all love pressing that button, so here you go. Taking this means you'll want to be pressing Blade Dance and Death Sweep on cooldown, even in single target. If you haven't used Blade Dance in a while, one thing that I will suggest is to be aware of your positioning to make sure that you're hitting as many mobs with your Blade Dance as possible. Positioning is everything. And the last choice is Demonic. I mean, this shouldn't need any explanation. You're getting Dark Glare procs to keep you in demon form. More time spent in demon form means more death sweeps. When it comes to Soulbinds, I've been using Nagia Triple Potency. The haste you get from Thrill Seeker contributes to the fast gameplay of this build, and the other stats from Fatal Flaw, they're just icing on the cake. For potency conduits, you'll take Growing Inferno, of course. This is always a lock-in. You never want to not use Growing Inferno. The other one we'll use is Increased Scrutiny. So this helps your I-Beam and your Sinful Brand line up a bit better because you're not getting those extensions. You are going to have to manually put out Sinful Brands a bit more often. So this conduit helps with that. And of course, the final conduit is Dancing with Fate. And we're taking that because, hey, we're using First Blood and we're going to be pressing Blade Dance, Death Sweep. This just makes it do even more damage. Now, when you get Dark Lair procs, I would recommend spending your Fury. You can spend it on Death Sweeps, or you can spend it on, Annihilations if you don't have Death Sweep available. But always prioritize Death Sweep. You don't want to just be blasting your I-Beams out in those Dark Lair windows. I would definitely suggest spending the Fury. One of the synergies that I think is sometimes missed with this build is that with Dark Lair, you can potentially get extra I-Beams inside of your Cache of Acquired Treasures window. So generally, if you're running the other build and lining the trinket up with meta, you should get 2 I-Beams, 3 if you reset your I-Beam quick enough. But with Dark Lair, so you can get 0 procs, meaning you would only get 2 I-Beams, or you could get multiple procs, meaning your trinket damage is going to be pretty juicy. Now with Unbound Chaos, the best advice I can give you is just be aware of your positioning. Like I've said in many of my other videos, try to fell rush into walls or objects to prevent yourself from dashing all over the place. You should always be on the lookout for a little nook or cranny or a lamp post or something to utilize to your benefit. Also be aware that the Unbound Chaos buff lasts longer than the Immolation Aura buff, meaning you don't have to spend your Unbound Chaos right away. Immolation Aura's damage stacks up every time it ticks and hits an enemy due to your Growing Inferno conduit, so you want to spend as much time next to mobs during your Immolation Aura buff as you can. This isn't to say you should always wait for Immo to drop before spending your Unbound Chaos, but it's just something to keep in mind. Another tip I'll give you is during buffs, Death Sweep essentially has no cooldown whatsoever, so you can just blast out as many of those inside of that window as you can. If you're using Glaive Tempest, you can alternate between the two. Death Sweep, Glaive Tempest, Death Sweep, Glaive Tempest. You get the idea. Now, people will say you shouldn't play this build in higher keys, and they're probably right. You'll get more single target prio damage with Cycle of Hatred. But if I'm going to be pushing a higher key relative to what I'm used to, I'll probably stick with Cycle. But on the other hand, in the current climate of Mythic Plus, a Havoc's damage really doesn't matter. We're there to buff the Hunter and the Lock and get some interrupts and put Chaos Brand out, right? So it's basically the end of the expansion right now, so let's let loose and have some fun. If you want to play this build, try it out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to sub to this channel, and check out all the other links in the description of this video. There's a whole bunch of things there. My Discord, my Patreon, a link to Just Russ's video, and Humanity's Raider IO is there. Alright guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.